Today, we are going to bench press. I'm going to show you how to bench press, how to get the most out of the bench press for your body, and how to be stronger and more functional in that movement. Before we get started, 3 secret weapons that you need before any training session. Number 1, a big bottle of water. Number 2, a stopwatch to make sure you're timing those rest periods. Number 3, a journal with your program written out so you can track everything that you do. But first, the key to any amazing bench pressing session, any amazing training session, is getting warm. So let's go through a full warm up right now. Let's go. So one of the key things before you bench, you've got to get warm in the shoulders. You've got to get warm. You warm up these shoulders because this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when training. And it's fine when you're young and you can get away with it, but in my mid-30s now, I don't want to be getting to my 40s and having to have rotator cuff surgery or have knackered shoulders. So mobility plays a prime key in getting prepped and getting strong. So make sure that you have an adequate warm-up. I'm going to take you through my warm-up now. Arm raises, it looks boring, it is kind of boring, but it works. And what it's going to help me do is maintain a strong physical benching, pushing routine for many years to come when I am primed and ready and keeping my body subtle to take on load. Arm raises, 20 reps to begin. Using one of our secret ingredients, our Times rotator cuff stretch. Very underrated stretch. Palm flat on the back, pulling the shoulder forward via the elbow. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Nice stretch for the rotator cuff. Breathing into it. 60 seconds each side. It's long, it's tedious, it's a bit boring. However, when you see the benefit it can bring in terms of not just being physically and mentally prepped, but also having less likelihood of injury, you'll be much more willing to do the little things like this. Thirdly, wrist rocks. When you're benching, wrist mobility, wrist strength is important. People forget and neglect this, right? We'll just get into benching. There's no wonder sometimes you might have some pain in your wrists. So 20 rocks back and forward, just to warm up those wrists and get ready to hold a heavy bar, moving through load, keeping the joints and muscles and tendons in a good subtle position to be able to take on heavy load in a safer manner. Fourth one and final part of the first set of the warm-up, because we do this 3 times, is a wrist hold. So placing the wrists backwards again, I'm going to set off a timer here, 60 seconds. Now depending on your wrist mobility will depend on how far you can actually get your hands back. This is quite uncomfortable already. I'm going to lean very slowly, millimeter by millimeter back. So I'm going to bring my hips back towards my feet so my arms are straight. I cannot force this. I cannot force this movement because it's already feel the pull all the way down my forearms. But I am getting super ready to be able to bench here. Again, taking deep breaths into the belly. As I breathe out, you can move a centimeter or 2 back. There's very little movement required in this, but there's a big full stretch going on all the way down my arms here, especially in the tops of the wrists down the forearms. So we're about to bench, but we're actually going to get, even after that 3-stage warm-up, well, 4 exercises 3 times, we're about to get warm on the actual bench. So before you actually bench, prepping comes into play when you want to do it seriously, you want to do it properly. So we're just about to take a warm-up set in. Today's work weight for myself, we're doing 5 sets of 5 reps, 5 by 5 at 80% of my max, which works out at around 97.5k today. Now I weigh, let me check, 83 kilos with my clothes on, so it works out about 82 kilos, so we're doing quite well. First initial target for a bench press, when you're new, is always usually go to body weight, so we're well past that, which is great. Then 1.5 body weight, then eventually double body weight would be a fantastic strength goal. Now I am in this video telling you about a bench press for functional and strength gains. A bodybuilder may have different opinions, so just bear that in mind. When you're benching, lie flat, feet flat on the floor. You don't want your feet kicking all over the place. You want to feel like that, but get a solid foundation. If someone was, you might think your calves don't play a role, but if someone was to stick a fork in your calf and you're benching, it would certainly put you off. So, when you're approaching the bar, tuck your lats into your pockets. You're pulling your shoulder blades down, opening up your chest. You're also driving your feet into the floor. The grip on the bar, depending on what kind of bench you're doing, if you're doing a close grip bench, it will be inside the shoulders. So if I was to put my arms out straight, inside the shoulders would obviously be tucked close. Outside the shoulders would be classed as a wide grip bench. However, it's very unique to the person depending on your anatomy, on where your arms go. You need to find a place that is comfortable, where you challenge, where you can get as much range of motion as possible. So with us being nearly 100k bench today, we're going to warm up on around 40%. The scale is 5x5. I'm going to do 10 reps to warm up on around 40%. So my grip is slightly wider than shoulder width, tuck the lats in the pockets. Nice, tight, super grip on the bar, squeezing the whole bar. I was told always to squeeze the bar into a straw. So you're gripping this bar, squeeze it so tight that it goes to the size of a straw, yeah? Your grip is paramount, so spend some time warming up the wrists, get the shoulders ready, lats tucked in, lifting off, to the bottom, usually pause at the bottom on the first rep, and then drive, 10 reps. First set done. We're going to up the weight now and decrease the reps. Just had to chalk my hands a little bit. Don't be scared to use some chalk, especially when you're doing anything related with grip, especially on a bench press, to make sure that there's no slide going on there and you feel like you've got a good tight squeeze of the bar and it ain't going anywhere. So, second set, we've just done 10 reps. We're going to drop this down to 6. This is 60 kilo, around 60% of the work weight. Just 6 easy, controlled reps. Lats in the pockets, just tight squeeze on the bar. Abs tight too, abs tight too. This, you can fit a hand under my back at the bottom, but I wouldn't arch too much. You see a lot of weightlifters arching. It's okay to arch, but I wouldn't be arching too much. I would be probably not going past fitting a hand under there.
What we do here is go back.
60% done. We're going to move that up now to 75%. So before we go 75%, we're going to drop the reps down to 3 now. So we've done 10, 6, 3. The methodology is very simple. You don't want to completely wear yourself out before your work set, but you also want to find the balance of feeling completely warm. So we've done my full stretch warm up. We've done a good, this will be the third set of warm up. We'll probably do 4 warm up sets and then get into the actual work sets of 5x5. So it's quite a lot of volume and a lot of work just to focus on one exercise. When you want to take things a little bit more seriously, you have to prep and prep properly so that you can perform as well as you can. This is the third warm up set, 75%. Again, just 3 reps. Doesn't want to feel exhausting, wants to feel fast, in control. Three reps. Now we'll load on 90%. Okay, so we got 90% on now, around 90%, it's probably slightly over. We're just going to do a single, just to get a feel for the weight, and we're going to go for a full weight, 97.5 for 5 sets of 5 today. That's the target. There might be a couple of sets of 4 in there. We'll see where we're at. It's a heavy weight for me, being 82 kilo, and that's my strength levels at this moment. So, single on 90, if you're confident with a near max weight for this set. Last warm-up set, this, nice and controlled. Easy, let's go. Okay, so before we start our work set, we have our journal handy, we have our stopwatch handy, and we're ready to go. In terms of rest times, 1 to 2 minutes should be adequate, unless you're really shifting like your max where you're doing 1 to 3 reps maybe, then it might have to be a little bit higher. But most likely 2 minutes will be enough and sufficient. But the problem is if you're nattering in the gym, if you're checking your phone, all that bullshit, your workout tends to be ages and your body tends to switch off after a certain amount of time. So time your rests. But while warm, we've done our 4 exercise, 3-step warm-up. We have done 4 warm-up sets and we are ready to go in for the first set of 5 reps. Here we go. 97.5 kilo, 5 reps. Fuck me, that was heavier than I thought. Timer on. Whew. Stopwatch on. So, mark it in. I always mark the number that I've done. 5 sets, 5 reps right there. 5 by 5 at 80 kilo, 97.5. Now this is the first part of my workout today, but for the specifics of this video, we're just taking you through the bench press. And tempo wise, as in how slow you come down, will depend on what kind of program you're doing. At the minute, we're into an Olympic lifting program, which includes a bit benching. The tempo is not really of the issue, so we're coming down fairly fast, driving up obviously always as fast as you can. We're just controlling the descent a little bit rather than just letting it drop, controlling it slightly. The elbow position when you're benching, don't let your elbows flare out. They should never be flaring out. They should be around about 45 degrees down throughout the movement, and you'll notice mine are more or less. We'll show you from the other angle on the next one with a slight bit of movement because of the weight, of course, but I've been doing this 20 years, so I'm quite confident under the bar. If you're new, please pay attention to those elbows. Once they're not flaring out, tuck them down, safety for the shoulders. So I just noticed after that first set, sometimes some readjusting along the way is needed. I've just noticed how high we're lifting that off, and if I go to failure here, which is not expected, but if I do, that bar's so high I wouldn't be able to get it back on. So with that said, I'm going to lift them down 1. 2 minutes is up. Second set, readjust. Sometimes you'll find your second set's better than your first because your body's warm. Let's hope so. That fucking sucks. That's heavy. That's a struggle actually. That's a struggle. I'm definitely reaching the sort of limit of my reps for 5 here. So that's good. It's showing me that that's a good, heavy, strong weight. Obviously, I'm benching on my own here. Always best to have a spotter where you can, hence why the safety bar's right here. In case I kind of get it up so I can just literally rest it on my stomach and the bar will take the weight for safety so I'm not crushed. But always usually bench heavy, especially with somebody behind you with the hands ready in case you get into any struggles. Safety first. So, set 2 done. Here comes set 3. You'll notice on that 4th rep that had a little bit of a pause there at the top. Sometimes your body just has to go shit before you take the next one. And that happened on that one. That's set 3. I'm getting to the limit now. I might find what happens on this next one. Hopefully I'll get 5, but if I get the point, I'll get to 4 and I'll think I can't do another one. I'll have to put it down, which is cool. All that would mean is that next time I come to this 5 by 5 training, which may be in a week or 2, because I'd only bench probably twice a month now, once every 2 weeks, where I used to bench twice a week, 3 times a week years ago, but you don't need it if you're doing a lot of other stuff, is when I come back to it, I have to make sure I get the 5 sets of 5 before I up the weight. So you wouldn't usually up the weight unless you were reducing the reps. So if I was to come to 5 sets of 5 again and I went to, say, from 97 to 98, then I probably wouldn't get it because I haven't technically lifted this, right? So you don't come up the weight usually unless you want to reduce the reps or you hit those reps last time. So think about that one. The next set is set 4 of 5. We're feeling it now. Better crack on then. Here we go. Set 4. Oh, hey. Set 4, we got 5 there, it's good. Timer's on, we are gonna go for the 5th set of 5 here. And then we would have successfully finished our bench, our flat bench for the day. Now I don't train like a bodybuilder, I train like an athlete. Many bodybuilders may have a different approach on the bench. That's not what I'm here to give advice on. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a functional athlete. I am someone who teaches people how to get strong for life, fit for life. And on the plus side of that, you will be aesthetically pleasing to the eye as a result of doing the work. But rather than go in with the focus of building the body, you're going with the focus of feeling good in the mind, and secondly, building the body. So we train movements, but I personally coach. Train movements, not necessarily body parts. I don't do a chest day, I do a push day, pull day, we do squat day, we do hinge day, yes, etc. So we do the movements rather than the body parts. And a philosophy that has been taught to me for many years and that I find personally works immensely great, because my goals then focus on being performance-based rather than aesthetic-based, because I think sometimes we can get a little bit caught up in the negative emotion of how we look, and it's never good enough. And we'll never quite have the right body fat or the right size chest or arms or whatever, but when we focus on how much we're lifting, how well we're lifting, how many reps we can get, how we can get faster at certain things, more agile, more flexible, then it changes our perspective up here on what we do with our hands and our body in terms of how we move, and we don't get as disheartened as what we do when we eat pizza and feel like a fat cunt. So remember that, train for sanity, not vanity. And if you do that, you'll look good on the other side of it. We have just 10 seconds. What I sometimes do on the last set, if I'm particularly fatigued, is I'll have an extra 30 seconds to 1 minute rest. So I'm gonna take an extra 30 seconds so that we go home happy and we go home strong. And that means getting all the reps said. Now I can't say that that's 100% gonna happen based on how difficult those other 4 sets were. But in my mind, I've got, right, I have 5 in the bag, and that's 25 total reps, 5 sets of 5, done. If I get 4, I get 4. I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. But 5's in the head, it's all a mental game this, remember. 80-90% mental. And once we've done it, and it's a good day benching. And hopefully you've learned something from this video. That's 2:30 rest, let's go. Last set, best set. Shit the bed! If you like what you've seen, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day. How would your life look like with more motivation, energy, and self-control? My second book, Supercharged, is available now, the modern day guide to creating outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control. Head to superchargedbook.com to get your copy right away.